everyone. Welcome to the Self-Awareness Journey podcast. I'm Melissa Albers.
And I'm JJ Parker. This podcast is for seekers. Seekers of happiness and joy. Seekers of a centered approach to success in life. Seekers of their true, authentic selves.
Get ready for some real talk on everything from anxiety, emotions, and habits to love, compassion, and forgiveness. We know you'll be challenged and enlightened by this conversation. We're so glad you're here. Let's dive in.
Phones are driving me up a freaking wall lately.
I know. I know.
I'm going crazy with everybody's device use.
Yeah.
Everyone near me who is using their phone constantly nonstop is driving me crazy.
Yeah. It's
I'm
awful.
Gonna snap. I am absolutely gonna snap.
Did something happen, JJ?
Yeah, I think what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna get one of those little mini hammers, like a little one like a jeweler would use, and walk around and smash phone screens.
Oh my god!
Like a smartphone
like a vigilante.
Yeah.
There's a word you don't get to call yourself very often.
Yeah, can I wear a cape and I'll walk around the city smashing phones?
Yeah, it'll look good in prison. A cape won't call you out.
Phones in prison.
There's no phones in prison. Just the one that's attached to the wall. Oh my gosh, what's got you all spooled up? I mean, I'm with you on this, but what got you going?
I don't know. I've been on kind of a personal journey of not being so addicted to my phone. It just drives me crazy how addictive that device is. And I'm a technology guy. I love this stuff. It is really cool stuff. Yeah. But to me, it's gotten to a point where the engineering of the device, the apps, the way it triggers dopamine and addiction reactions in people is
terrifying.
Really bad. Is really, really bad. And I noticed in myself, and for a long time I was on social media, engaged in the whole thing, constantly looking, I didn't think twice about my own phone usage for a long time.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh, interesting. Okay. I always have. And feel guilty.
But more recently, I'm I can't believe how much time I spend on this thing doing pretty much nothing.
Yep. Oh, and how you're so right. You're right.
And how it pulls on my mind all the time. Ooh, I should go check it. Oh, what's going on there? It was just pulling on me all the time. And to the point where I'm okay, I need to, I need my phone for work generally.
Yes, same.
But I deleted everything on my phone that allows me to infinitely scroll through a thing. So anything that you scroll and it just kind of keeps feeding you more content.
Yeah.
I delete it.
So that's any social media platform, Facebook, Instagram, X, whatever.
Yep. Delete all of them. Even
Pinterest.
Even LinkedIn, which I actually do use for work.
Yeah.
I deleted because I noticed that I would just scroll it, even though I was not doing any work. I was just scrolling it because it was just feeding me more little nuggets.
Yeah, I know.
And I was wait a second, why am I giving the most precious resource, the thing I can never ever ever get back or get more of is time.
Agreed.
And I thought, why am I giving this thing so much of my most precious resource? I'm just donating it for free, in exchange for what? Mild entertainment, not even good entertainment,
it isn't. No,
it's not entertainment. It's not even entertainment. It's just sort of to fill this addiction that I have.
Are you consciously aware of, and this is me, a reflective question to see if you have the same feelings as me. Are you consciously aware of how you feel when you stop after you've been on for a while? Are you consciously aware of the physical feeling or the emotional or the mental feelings that you have when you just set your phone down after you've been on it for a while?
Yeah, it feels kind of like empty to me.
Yeah.
It's like I kind of feel bad.
Do you know what I have recognized recently? Because I've been thinking about, actually, it's kind of weird that you brought this up because I've been thinking about this too the last couple of weeks. And I think what spurred my thinking was, on Sundays, how Apple will send out here's how long you've been on your phone, your average usage daily.
Yeah, your like screen time
snapshot
my gosh.
Or whatever. So it's gotten me thinking. I started to sort of reflect on, so like, when are my typical times where I will pick up my phone? Right before bed. Okay? Yeah. Right before bed.
Yep.
Which is the worst thing that you can do. Okay.
Yeah.
Yes, I know. So putting aside the judgment piece for just a minute, when I am on my phone for, let's just say 10 minutes or 15 minutes scrolling, when I stop scrolling, I almost have like a buzzy feeling. Like, I don't feel keyed up, but I feel like my brain has been hyper focused into something, and it's almost like there's a sudden release, and it's like, whoa, looking around like, what do I do? I'm being a little dramatic.
You're like dazed and confused.
Yeah, a little, like, if honestly, I do think there's a little bit of dazed, that like, I do think that that's true. It certainly doesn't feel like I'm sharp. You know what I mean? And then I start to kind of judge myself, like, why am I doing that? Yeah. Why am I doing that?
It just dawned on me, like, so Steve Jobs, who was the CEO of Apple for a long time, the co-founder, back in like the 90s, early 90s, he had this very famous opinion about how long it took computers to boot up. And so, like, computers of that era, it probably hasn't changed very much. It's like you used to turn them off every night. Like,
I remember that.
Anymore, but
yeah,
turn them off every night. And you turn them on, and they would take like a couple of minutes to like boot
cycle up.
You know, like go through all the screens of stuff and blah blah blah. And he very famously was like wanted to make the Mac start up faster and get to work faster than a Windows computer, because he said the global impact on people waiting for their computer to start before they can do their work is significant.
Oh, wow.
And he's talking about like
milliseconds.
A minute. Yeah.
Totally.
45 seconds. Like, he was concerned about the scaling of that 45 seconds across all of the globe. Right?
Yeah.
Now think about, fast forward to today.
No, I don't want to.
We waste so much freaking time, like, uselessly scrolling on our phones.
Yeah.
So the global impact. So I just think it's funny. He was worried about those 45 seconds at one point in his career.
And now we have
fast
hours.
Forward, he had made the device that basically wastes hours a day for people. Ironic.
He's
That's
that good.
Right there.
He's that good.
But
I'm not sure he liked people. See, this to me just is absolutely catapulting into the I knew it, I just knew it phase.
Maybe if he was still around today, he would be realizing the impact of his invention.
Yeah.
But anyway, that's what I was thinking about is in our personal lives and in our work context, and even in just like global productivity, gross productivity of our, if you want to bucket it to our nation, but globally,
right?
These devices are like taking so much time away from our population from working on things that, like real problems. Yeah. That I think it's devastating. I don't want to be like
I think you're right,
crazy technologist guy, but like, it is really scary to me. And what even more scary is like we're training the whole next couple of generations to replicate that behavior.
Yeah, I know.
Now, I'm sure rewind like 50 years and everyone was having the same freak out conversation about like television or video games or like whatever, like tech du jour. Because I would say also television probably had a, early television.
Oh,
people
definitely.
are probably saying the same thing. Oh my God, people are sitting in front of that thing for hours on end watching it.
Yep.
Right.
That's a waste for our youth.
That's right. So I am fully aware of that.
But this is different.
These are cycles. But this one is so...
It's so personal.
And so addicting. I think the other mediums were probably addicting too, but this one just has like an extra sharp edge on it.
I totally agree. And even, and regardless of your age, usually when there's new things that come in, you can always count on the younger generations, usually the early adopters, right? Mm-hmm. What I've been noticing with phones lately is like the number of adults, like 40s, 50s, 60s, that are using their phones in places that are just absolutely not what you would have seen 5 years ago. Out for dinner with friends. You see them sitting on their phones or interrupting.
Texting, playing Wordle.
But, it's cutting into everything, our social interaction, our social connection, our emotional connection and with ourselves.
Yeah.
Because it's easy to distract ourselves from any true issue or problem that we're having in our lives. It's easier to just put it into something electronic like that, like just scroll
it's distraction,
instead.
Right? I think like
it is
I remember Amber has stories about this, about like family members like growing up like in the 80s, who it was like the TV was on, do not talk to them. Right?
Oh my gosh.
Right? Like TV was the thing when we were growing up.
Yeah.
That was the
Mutual of Omaha Wild Kingdoms on. Don't talk.
So I'm not, this is not like a new alarm bell, but
is it though? Isn't it? Shouldn't it be?
Maybe. But I do see a lot of like older generation.
Yeah.
Like it's funny how they probably complained about like my generation as like the Nintendo generation, like all they're doing is playing video games.
Yeah.
Fast forward 30 years,
that's all they're doing.
That's all they're doing is playing video games.
Well,
the other thing that pushed me right over the edge was that LinkedIn, which is like the more professional social media where there is actually some like professional value for me. Is like releasing like games on the LinkedIn platform.
What?
Yeah.
I haven't seen that.
So I'm like, give me a break. Like,
what do you mean games? Like, what kind of games?
Like, you can play word games and you can play games right like in your feed. Yeah, it's crazy. So why would you introduce games into like a business platform? The only reason to do it is to get people more addicted to going to it.
That's right.
So again, that was like almost like a core value violation for me. I'm like, well, the purpose of your thing is to
that's business, a really interesting.
But what you're doing is you're trying to like hook people in on this addiction cycle.
Yeah, that's a really interesting language that you just use. Like a core value. What did you say it was?
As a core value
violation. That is so good, JJ. My mother, who's in her later 70s, is always freaking out about her phone. Oh, I got this. She's getting pop-ups. Can we have access to your photos? And in her mind, the people, air quotes, are going to take her personal information, air quotes, and use it to her disadvantage or to their advantage. Okay. So any pop-up she gets, anything that happens on her phone, she freaks out. It causes her so much stress in the moment. And yet, would she put her phone down? No way. Not a chance.
Yeah, right.
So like now you have this overqualified technology with a whole slew of people that have no idea what it's capable of. It's dangerous.
Yeah. The other thing that absolutely breaks my heart, and again, I also not blameless in this, or I'm part of it, is when I see like kids wanting their parents' attention.
Yes.
And they are looking at their phone. Absolutely heartbreaking. I'm really conscious of that. I really try to, like, if my kids want something, like, put that thing down, put it away. I've actually been trying to just, like, leave my phone down at my desk in the evenings, because I'm like, you know, I'll go check it a couple times in case someone was trying to get a hold of me.
Right.
But we're stuck in this, like, hyper connected
I know.
environment where we feel like we have to have these things all the time. And then someone who's really important in our lives, like our kids, are like, what are they learning in that moment? They're learning, oh, that thing's more important than I am.
Yes. And I can't wait till I can do that with one of my own. When can I have one?
Yeah.
I mean, that's where it spins off to.
Well, even my teenage kids, like we're still sending that message to them, like, this is more important than you. That's not good for any relationship.
No. And also, conversely, I have seen many, many times at like Target or shopping or out in public where an infant, barely old enough to hold something, the parents will stuff a screen in their face. Yeah. As a distraction, like as a babysitter.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep. Yeah. The other one too is like with your partner, if you go to bed, you know, are you going to bed with your partner? No, most of us are going to bed with our phone.
I know.
Like, who do you want to sleep with tonight? Oh, I'm just going to cuddle up here with my phone.
Cuddle. And my big dogs. My big
right?
furry ass dogs. Yeah, you're right. Yeah. So, you know, there's a number of emotions that this conversation brings up for me. I feel mad at myself that I am as addicted to my phone as I am.
Yeah.
I mean, and I don't even know what other word I can use.
Yeah.
You know, preoccupied. At a bare minimum, I am preoccupied with my phone.
Yep.
I feel mad at myself about that because it feels like I can't not have it.
Yeah, like you don't have enough self-control.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. That I have that, and then I have a lot of judgment about other people that are exactly the same way. Mm-hmm. You know, I judge that, and I think I have a really strong emotional reaction to that, to watching other people, because that's how I feel.
Yeah. So if you had someone in your life and they were doing drugs and they were like using way too much, they were like hiding it, they were sneaking it, they were putting it above every other relationship that they have, they were like using it at work, they were like shirking it. I mean,
it's the first thing that they do when they wake up. It's the last thing they do before they go to bed.
I mean, if you describe drug use and then you apply that to your phone use, it's the same exact behavior. It is no different. And in fact, what's nice about the phone is you can use it even way more than drugs.
Yeah.
Like your body will tolerate more.
You know what I was just going to say? I was just going to say without the physical effects, but then I realized, oh my God, that's actually not true.
Effects.
There's
that's not true.
So many physical effects to it as well.
Yeah. So I've been starting to, when I talk to people, contextualize phone use or make the analogy that is the same as drug use.
Yeah.
Which is not super popular opinion, but I am struggling to come up with a scenario where they are not analogous.
Mm-hmm. I honestly don't think there is one.
So
I don't think there is one. Oh, it's amazing. And then I actually feel a little, you know, I'm not normally one who projects. I try to just stay really focused on what is, not what if, because I can just sense anxiety and nervousness amps up as soon as I go into the what if category. But what's going to have to happen for all of us for this to change? Like, is this just going to be the way it is forever, only more so because, like, they've already out-engineered most of these personal devices to a place we'll never, ever use all of the stuff available. So it's not like new technology will make us be more and more attached, or will we? Like, what does this look like?
How could you get more attached?
How could you get more attached? How could they make it solving more problems than it already is? I mean, I guess that's a design question that I'm not good at, and probably a dumb question.
Like our our buddy Elon Musk is going to like implant it into your brain. So
oh, that's right.
Like
yes,
you don't even need to hold it. Just
hello, George Orwell's 1985.
Yeah.
There's a line from that. I just read that book. It's very scary. I read that book again, read it in high school, but there was a line in there that, because in that book, remember, everyone was being watched by all the time by Big Brother, and everyone had screens in their homes that you had to have facing in certain directions so the screen could see everything in your house at all times.
Yeah.
And there was a line in there that said, he came into the room and he turned his back to the screen, but even backs tell a story. And I was like, God, that is so awful. But the phone is a little bit insidious in the same way.
In the same way, yeah.
So what does that look like? What do you think will happen? What do you think? Well, you're more technology. You do have such a good idea on.
That's a good question. I mean, like, part of this whole thing is, you know, we're in like a capitalistic environment, right? Where companies, you know, and corollary, the people that work for those companies are just going to like continue to create things that will, you know, drive profit and, you know, revenue and things like that. Now, there are maybe a couple companies that try to make sure that they're like morally responsible when creating products. But I think the problem is that it's hard to stay morally responsible when you become a significant size.
I agree.
And this is going to be like shocking, but when you ask people who were involved in like the Nazi regime, like they didn't say, yeah, I agree with what we were doing. All they would say is, no, all I did was drive this truck from point A to point B.
Exactly right.
Right? Like, yeah,
complete disassociation from the greater.
I was part of it kind of, but all I was doing is this one job.
Yeah.
Like, okay. So you kind of like release that individual's moral responsibility. But as a whole system that was created there, it was like horribly bad.
Right.
Is the same thing happening with like social media and devices? Like each individual engineer,
that's such good perspective,
like,
JJ.
They're not morally wrong. They're just doing their job. But as that whole system emerges, the whole system is morally wrong. But not one individual is necessarily responsible for it.
Right. Or aware. Which
Possibly.
or even aware. There's no way that every individual that's involved in those kinds of great big movements understands the great big movement.
Yeah, right.
They really understand their individual part and doing a good job, which then pulls on people's individual expectations of themselves to do the best job that they can, to attach to something, you know?
Yeah. So you could put like government oversight on something like that. It's currently like, you know, TikTok's going through that. I think they're too big. I mean, it's like it got out of control. It's like a wildfire that got out of control.
Yeah.
And it's probably not going to stop until like burns everything to the ground.
Well, that's what I was going to say. Is how will it ever modify itself to a reasonable perspective?
It could.
Do you think so?
Well, one thing that could happen, that could be plausible, is that the younger generation, the next generations, look at all of this and be like, are you freaking kidding me?
Okay.
Like my mom, my dad, my grandma and grandpa, my aunts and uncles are so addicted to that thing, I don't even want to touch it. I think we see pockets of that right now. So it could be that it stalls out kind of a natural
social pressure.
Yeah.
I love that. And I, you know what? I actually, the minute you said that, I was like, oh, I agree with you. I don't know whether there's any other thing that could have that much power. I don't.
No, it's got to be like a social movement, because as soon as like a government would attempt, I mean, we've seen this, like China tries to do this, right? We see these governments try to restrict certain things, and what that ends up is just like creates more demand.
It's just, here's a gas can and some fans.
Yeah. one of the best marketing techniques is to like restrict the amount of units you make, right?
Right.
Like limited edition.
Supply and demand right there.
Limited addiction.
Limited addiction. Oh my God. This is scary.
Well, other than just wanting to rant for a while, which
no, I don't. I think this is real. You know what though? This is important.
Yeah, everyone should just be mindful of like what is happening and how much time. Like to me, I keep on saying, just tally up how much time you are donating to that.
And that is what you're doing. You're donating.
And if that's okay with you, fine. That's fine. Like I'm not judging that, but just be really aware of how much time you're donating.
Yeah.
And maybe you want to reallocate some of that time.
What would you do with it if you didn't do this?
Mm-hmm.
What would you do with it if you didn't do this? These are all the same people that are saying, I'm always so busy. I don't have time. I don't have time to finish that. I can't do it.
Yep.
Yeah. Great thoughts. Really, really good. You gave us some really good things to think about.
Did you enjoy this episode? Please go to your favorite podcast platform to subscribe, rate, and leave a review so others can discover it as well.
Growing self-awareness is a lifelong journey, and there's always further to go. And it's better when we're all in it together. Please think of someone you know who could benefit from hearing today's conversation and share this episode with them. We can't thank you enough for listening. Until next time, happy exploring, seekers.